Hey everybody, we're about to get started with our presentation on Lafayette Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. And before we get started with the Lafayette Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, we do have a special guest with us today. Karina Rosenbaum. She is with the New Orleans Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, and she's the Access and Functional Needs, or what's the other? The Disaster Accessibility Coordinator. So she does this work in New Orleans. She did all the way from New Orleans, and we're just glad to have her here. She wanted to see the great things going on in Lafayette. I'll turn it over to Chad now.
Thank you. First of all, thank y'all for taking the time to come out there. I know it's a beautiful day. Everybody had a lot to do. This is important. And it's great to see this turnout. Lets everybody know that the word is getting out. Just to let everybody know in advance, I have no prizes.
I have extras, so feel free to answer out loud, and I will make sure I get it right.
But no, thank y'all. Really, sincerely, since taking this position in September, it's great to see the amount of people that come together in this community and work as one whenever disaster comes. I said, I was in the fire service before this, and I was always helping people for many years. And whenever I took this position, whenever I'm coordinating everything, I see the people that come out and reach out to me to help other people that they don't even know. It's truly amazing, and it's just a testament to people that we have here in this community. So a little bit about myself. My name is Chad Sonnier. I'm the Emergency Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Director, and my job is simply coordinate. I can't do everything myself. We work with police officers, we work with firefighters, we work with BOAS, we work with youth, we work with nonprofits, we work with the whole community. My job is to get this community together, come up with a plan. That way when disaster strikes, we're ready and we have the best possible, most efficient plan. So whenever the mayor president took office a year and a half ago, her first initiative was always public safety. And she decided back since it was created, emergency operations as well as 911 was the same person doing both jobs. And with the different regulations they have as far as the state and federal regulations, you good? She realized that it's way more important to have somebody one person doing one job and one doing the other, because it was just too much for one person. It was overwhelming. And public safety has always been and always is a priority to the mayor president. So she decided to split do duties up in September, which I would say I was lucky enough to get the position, but after being in it for almost a year, I realized I had black hair when I started. So what we did was we were fortunate enough, we received a grant, and last year, right after we took office, we started upgrading our emergency operations plan at no cost to the citizens of Lafayette as well as the parish. And LSU assisted us with it. We have the most up-to-date plan in the state. I can attest to that because we just put it in operations a couple weeks ago. We exercised it, worked out a few tweaks right before hurricane season. So we're ready. I think the best prepared we've ever been in Lafayette Parish's history. So thank the Mayor President for doing that. And then another thing she wanted to do was a reunification center, to where if we have an incident such as they had in Texas, where a bunch of people come together and looking for family members. We didn't have that. When I was in the fire department, we had a couple plane crashes. We worked a couple incidents at the Cajun Dome. Well, it ended up being a hoax, but people were coming in and we had nothing. We had no plan to bring these people together to find out about their loved ones. So what we did is we worked with the Department of Health, and she's off duty right now, but we were working with them, and we worked with them, and we formalized a plan. And what happens is when something happens, you may be at a concert at the Cajun Dome, people come from all over the state or across the United States to watch a concert. And if something happens, we have a plan in place to where we work with the hospitals all throughout this area. We have our IT department set up a program to where you can get online, send us pictures of your loved one, information about your loved one, and we can find that person quick and have a centralized place for them to go, which is one of the first around here in the state. We went to New Orleans. We took New Orleans' plan after Mardi Gras, after the New Orleans shooting, January 1st, New Year's, and we saw what worked for their plan, didn't. we tweaked it for us, and we have a real good plan. Matter of fact, we actually presented at the state conference, and we have given every single parish in Region 4, which is 8 parishes, our plan, and they kind of modeling around there. So it's a state plan it's a plan that the whole state's using and incorporating it for them. So it's a pretty good plan. So that's another thing we're very proud of that we did. And the last thing, in part of the emergency operations plan was our disaster plan, which we're gonna kind of talk about a little bit today. We're not gonna get real deep into it. We're just gonna I'm gonna give you a ballpark on what we do as far as for Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. And then Jamie's gonna come in and she's gonna speak to you on some of the information that we hand out to y'all, which is how do we communicate with you during a disaster? When there's a disaster and you need some assistance, when phone lines are down, when everything's down, how do you get to us? And that's what LafayetteNOW is. It's an emergency notification system, which was another initiative taken by the Mayor President. She wanted some type of system, our own system, to where we can notify anybody in the type of disaster, anything from a disaster all the way down to when there's registration for parks and recreations. And she'll talk more about that later. But that was another initiative that she took on, which was very successful. So she has done a lot of things in the last year and a half since I've been there. She's done a lot of things for public safety as well as you general public. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the emergency operations, emergency management side, we have a cycle. What we do, we prepare, we always get ready, we have our plans, we exercise our plans. After we exercise our plans, we tweak them, do what we need to do, and then we prevent. We go out and advance things like today, a day like today, we go out, we prevent, and we educate people. We educate citizens on what to do to prevent that type of emergency, or if there is an emergency, what to do to minimize your hazards. And we respond whenever there's an incident. We respond to the incident. I said, we work with the firefighters, the police officers, any type of emergency. The federal partners, our local partners, our state partners, we all work together to respond, we mobilize, and then we recover. We actually come in after we beg the state for money, we beg the federal government for money, and we come back and then we mitigate, put everything as back to normal as we can, and we do that. So another thing we did that I forgot to mention when we responded, the Mayor President also did something, a first for Lafayette that's never been done. We activate the Emergency Operations Center when we have a mass gathering such as Mardi Gras or any type of event like that where there's numerous people. And we actually sit there and watch cameras, we watch drones, and we just activate. We have all our partners in the Emergency Operations Center with us. We have law enforcement, we have medical, we actually have doctors there. We did it for the Festivals International. So we have everybody in the room, and it's a coordinated effort, and it turned out to be extremely beneficial several times.
Chaplain.
Yes, ma'am.
Slow down for me.
Oh, okay, sorry. My Cajun's coming out, I'm talking too fast. So for Lafayette OSEP, like I said earlier, we got with LSU, and at no cost to the citizens of Lafayette Parish, we developed an emergency operations plan, and we prepare and execute the plan whenever there's any type of incident or emergency action. We are actually the primary point of contact for the federal government as well as the governor's office and all our partners, because if we have different people reaching out to the federal government, we duplicate an effort. So we streamline that by having the Emergency Operations Center and the OSEP office being that one point of contact and coordinating everything. We respond and deploy parish agencies and resources, something we do for hurricane as an example. Some areas of the parish have boats and some do not. So when we activate our plan, we may have somebody with a boat, a fire department with a boat on the east side of the parish, and they'll relocate to the west side of the parish. So we have boats all throughout the parish, and they dispersed evenly so everybody in the parish is safe. We alert and advise our citizens within the parish, and Jamie's gonna talk a little bit more about that whenever she gives her presentation. But it's an alerting system that we developed, very, very good, works amazing. And then we advise the Mayor President on what we need to do. We have what we call an H hour, and that's how many hours before the hurricane force winds hit the Gulf, hit the Louisiana coastline, and we plan it out from 5 days out on what we need to do and when. So we just advise the Mayor President, this is our protocol, make sure that she knows what's going on and keep her updated on everything. And as I said earlier, I'm just one person. It takes a whole community. It takes all of us to come together to make this the safest parish possible. It takes individuals and families. It takes businesses. faith-based communities, nonprofits, schools, media outlets, and all levels of government. The individuals and families, I know we talked about it earlier, we want everyone to have a plan, because if you have to be able to take care of yourself before we can come help you. Businesses, we want to get what we call the box stores up. I know earlier, I heard in the first presentation about medicines. I know that was a concern, very valid concern. So our job is to get those box stores and those pharmacies open as quick as possible so people can start getting those medicines, that ice, that water, that food, whatever they need. That's our job, is to get those box stores open as quick as possible. Faith-based communities, they help us tremendously. They open different shelters, whether it be food, feeding people, feeding first responders, feeding the public. They do a tremendous job on helping us. And nonprofit groups such as this going on today, putting the word out there and educating everyone. This is a great job on nonprofit groups. They help us out tremendously. Schools, even though they close, when a disaster strikes, we use them. They are a huge asset to us. We use them as some shelters for pickup point. We use them as what we call lily pads. If a house starts flooding, we bring those people to designated schools, and then we transport them to the shelter. So we use those quite a bit. Jamie works with our media outlets to get the word out to everyone. We put the word out there, what we're doing, what we need to do, when telling people when to evacuate, and then obviously all levels of government coming together. We have federal, local, and state partners that come in, and they look in our plan and they plug it in. As we know, we're in hurricane season. This is just a breakdown of different categories of a hurricane, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's very instrumental on us because of it just our protocol is a little different than category 1 to 5, obviously. So that dictates how we act or our action plan. Family plan, I know we talked about it in the first presentation, is very, very important. Have a plan, have your bag. I do not have any to give out, so I hope you got one in the first presentation. But have your hurricane plan, know what you're doing, know what each family member is doing. Have a phone number for your loved one that's maybe out of state. If you're going out there, maybe try and get out there and secure your home. Know your route. Remember, the roads are gonna get congested, so don't think you're gonna leave 24 hours out and be the same trip that you would have taken on a normal blue sky day. It's gonna be a lot more congested. So give yourself a little more time and assist those in the disability community. Review documents and your insurance, bring that with you. Bring that with you when you go, because if your house is damaged and you can't get back to your house, you wanna be able to activate your insurance policy. Pet hurricane plans. I think everybody that has a pet realize that pet's just as important or important as your family member, is a family member of yours, and just as important that we have a plan for them as well. So like was said earlier, make sure you have enough food, water, supplies for your pets, because they're gonna be along with you as well. And you make sure we take care of them. Business hurricane plan, like I said earlier, it's very important that we as emergency responders get those box stores open, because you have vital things that you need, whether it be medicine, food, water. So it's vital that we get those open. So we work with our businesses a lot. Lafayette is very fortunate. We have what we call a business EOC, or Business Operations Center, through UL, and it's right here in UL. It's based in UL, and it's actually the only one in the state. So we work with them quite a bit, especially during a disaster, to get things open and to work with them. Shelter in place for hurricanes. So you want to make sure, if you're going to decide if you can't leave or you want to stay home, make sure you secure your home, board it up as much as possible. Prepare your drinking water, like we said earlier. Make sure you have 3 or 4 days worth of drinking water, because drinking water may be damaged as a result of the hurricane. Charge all your devices, media. Everybody's working on cell phones nowadays, so we send out alerts and everything through cell phones, so make sure your cell phones charged. Prepare your backup power. A lot of people have these little battery packs. Make sure that's charged, and then just stay informed. That's the most important thing. Whenever Jamie and her team, she has an amazing team that puts out the message for us. When they start sending out information, just adhere to the information. If we asking y'all to leave, please leave. If we asking y'all there's a curfew, please stay in your house, because you're putting extra stress and jobs and duties on first responders if we have a curfew and people's doing things, just riding around being nosy, like we all are to an extent. But those police officers are out there, and those police officers are making sure that you're not looting people's houses. It's very important that you just adhere to the advisories that we send out. And some additional resources, LafayetteNOW, which Jamie's gonna talk about. I know we handed out a brochure. She's gonna go real in depth with that, but again, that was the Mayor President's one of her initiatives. Very, very, very great tool that we use quite a bit. Social media pages, as I said earlier, Jamie and her team do a great job pushing out the message, all these press releases, they do all of that on social media. The Hurricane Guidebook, which we sent y'all, everybody got a copy. If you didn't have one, see me. Or if you need additional copies, we have plenty. We have a parish as well as a state one. And something that we talked about that we have here in Lafayette, we're very fortunate to have, is Smart 911. If you go to smart911.com, you can put all your information on that phone, and it stays with your phone. So if you go on vacation in Houston or Florida, when you call 911 from your phone, they can see that dispatcher sees your information. And I know we talked earlier about the medicines. That's something you can actually put your medications on the Smart 911 app, what medicines you're taking, when you take it, if you have any specific things you would like first responders to know, you put it in Smart 911, and it's very secure. So what happens is when you dial 911, that dispatcher sees your screen with all of your information that you input. And as soon as you hang up the phone with 911, it goes away. There's no way to access it. There's no way to hack it. It's a very, very great tool that we have here in Lafayette. Take advantage of it. No cost to you. We have that here in Lafayette Parish. But look it up, read on it. If you have any questions, please see me after this or call me, and I'll go over it with you. We'll actually help you set it up. Come meet me at the office one day and we'll help you set it up. My office is in the 911 office, so I'll be more than happy to introduce you to the people and show you how it works. But very, very great tool. Nonprofits are a huge asset for us here in Lafayette. When we activate a warming center, when we activate a cooling center, when we activate a shelter, nonprofits are doing an amazing job. Don't want to sit here and name all of them because if I leave somebody out, there's so many that help us. I don't want to leave anybody out. But they do a great, amazing job during the disaster. Arcadiana VOAD is basically the hub of all of these nonprofits. They all join a group, and what they are is called Acadiana Voluntary Organizations Active in Disasters. We have our own group, and we have a group within our network. If we activate the shelter, we just send an email out. We have a conference call, or we'll have a video conference, and then we tell them what they need. They bring us food, they bring us water, they bring various items that we need to have that shelter up and running. They are a huge asset to our community. Louisiana 211 and 232 help again. They are also a great help to us. They help us out locally as well as the statewide. That reunification center I talked about, if you have a family member, they have a form you fill out, and they'll actually fill it out for you if you get in touch with them during a disaster or a reunification plan. Volunteer Louisiana, they have all the cool prizes that they don't want to share with us, but they are a huge asset to us as well. She talked earlier about the CERT team. We're fixing to work with them. That was one of our goals this year before the end of this calendar year, but with the hurricane season sneaking up on us so quick, we're trying to get it, but if not, we'll have it in for 2026. And what that is just the citizens coming together, specially trained. So if we have a shelter, they do first aid, they do medical, they do fire. You want to speak on what else they do besides everything?
Yeah, community emergency response teams, they are your neighborhood watch. It's part of the state service mission, but as he said, you get trained in first aid, CPR, how to deal with burns, cuts, AEDs, choking, fire, you learn how to put out a fire, light search and rescue, active shooter training. So there's all kinds of different incident command systems. So how you manage your team. So it all involved training. Remember when I said you could do it for 2 days or 8 hours each day? That's the training.
And something we want to use here in Lafayette, our CERT team, is for PDA, public preliminary damage assessment. After a hurricane comes, we have to push that information to the governor's office and say, hey, we estimate that we have X amount of dollars worth of damage, and that activates a threshold. Once we get it here in Lafayette Parish to 1.1 million, then if we have parishes around us and the state gets to 8.1 or 8.8 million, we get federal funding from FEMA. So it's very important that we do these PDAs. The state fire marshal used to do them, however, they do not do them anymore. So we're kind of limited on how many people we have during an emergency. So that's where these CERT teams would come in. They would go around, get us some assessments, pictures, and we have a database they would put it in. But they do an amazing job. And I know in Lafayette Parish they have one, and they do good. I want to count a mile hours after theirs. They have a real good plan over there. American Red Cross helps us out tremendously with the shelters. Anything we need from Red Cross, they provide anything from blankets to pillows to personnel to help us during a disaster. United Way is another huge help for us. Salvation Army. A lot of partners that come together. So we have a lot of things we can do to offset our costs when a hurricane comes or any type of disaster. A lot of times it's 75-25. LCG or the parish has to come up with 25% of whatever that cost is. What to offset some of that cost, we can take all our nonprofits that help us out, all of the people that we just talked about, and they have a dollar amount assessed to that. So that 25%, rather than coming up with actual money, we can use their services. It's called an in-kind donation. So if the Red Cross or the VOADs came together, we can say they had this many people work this many hours and supply this much food, and that offsets the cost to the government as well as the taxpayers. So they help us out tremendously. Eligible things, like we said earlier, we have category A and B, which is protecting. So whenever hurricanes come in, we have the city workers that are cutting down trees, pumping down ponds, so that whenever the flooding come, we have a place for that water to go. That's all eligible costs. So we can start preparing a couple of days before the hurricane actually hits and send that bill to the government, or send the amount of money it costs us to the government, and they'll reimburse us a percentage of it. And then we got to track everything, and then again we use the cost share to offset the funding that we have to pay. Some things, like I said earlier, meals, donations, sandbags, personal hygiene kits, MREs, it's all things that were helped out by nonprofits or VOADs, and it's all eligible to help us offset the cost of taxpayers. That's all I have. I just kind of wanted to give you a very brief overview on what we do with the Lafayette OSEP office. I know I had to slow it down. Jamie's fussing at me. Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to ask some review questions to hand out prizes?
Oh, see, now she's gonna put me on the spot. You see? I have a waterproof bag if anybody's interested. No, but thank y'all for your time, sincerely. As director of OSEP, it means a lot to me whenever I see all these people coming together. I know hard work.
I have a couple, Heather.
You see? You see? That's why I bring Jamie along.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Excuse me, sorry.
You're gonna see me on eBay. I want to thank Harlan for putting this together. I know it's first time and a pretty great turnout for the first time. Hopefully it'll grow and grow, and hopefully before I retire we can be at the Cajun Dome and fill that thing up for the next one. So anybody have any questions? If not, I'll turn it over to Jamie, but we'll be here throughout the whole presentation. So if you think of anything, please come meet me. That's what I'm here for. If you have any questions about 911, Smart 911, what I talked about, call me or come meet me at the office, and we can set you up at the office so you can see how it works. Yes, ma'am. Oh, let me see. I know she had another mic somewhere.
Oh, look, she had a question.
Yep.
She had a question.
I just wanted to know his name again.
Chat's on you.
Chad's.
Here you go. Thanks for asking a question.
Any other questions? Chad?
Ma'am.
Interactive audience.
All right, onward.
I'm business and I'm letting them know.
Is the American Way, the American Red Cross office still off of Willow?
Yes, ma'am.
And she just asked a question.
Are there any more volunteer opportunities like that?
Oh, absolutely. Any one of the groups I mentioned, they're always taking on volunteers who need assistance, as well as the CERT team. So we'll have plenty of opportunities. We're always looking for people to help, but absolutely.
And I'd say for this group, the organizations that are here, the nonprofits, Families Helping Families, SLIC, Southwest Louisiana Independent Living Centers,
ABL, Affiliated Blind of Louisiana. Any other nonprofit organization? Gulf Coast Social Services. All our organizations activate in disasters. So if you have the expertise around disabilities, connect with those organizations who are going to be supporting people with disabilities.
And Harlan and his group, he kind of coordinated everything for us. I know you were there. We meet quarterly, and they had a lot of input in our emergency operations plan. So very, very vital. We get your input.
Mayor President, where community with disabilities.
It's a microphone right in front of your mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Mayor President's Awareness Committee for Citizens with Disabilities. We meet every other month at City Hall, and we have subcommittees that deal with specific issues like emergency response and preparedness. Our next meeting is going to be on Wednesday, August the 6th.
At what time?
It's going to be at 3 p.m. on the first floor council briefing room of Lafayette City Hall.
And Jamie's gonna talk now about LafayetteNOW, which is the notification system we talked about. And if you can spread the word on this, because when we put out important messages, it's very vital that everyone gets it. So with that being said, Jamie Boudreau, our Chief Communications Officer.
Thank you, Chad. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Jamie Boudreau. I'm the Chief Communications Officer for Lafayette Consolidated Government. So what that really means, I do sit within the Mayor President's office, and I work alongside her in the executive team. But the bigger job that we have is to communicate important messages to the public. And so what we focus on, want me to move your mic?
Thank you so much.
What we focus on is primarily public messaging and engagement to make sure that you all know of all of the things happening in Lafayette Parish and in the city of Lafayette. So, big job, no doubt. In the last year, Chad mentioned a bit about this, but since our group coming in, since this administration coming into office, public accessibility, connectivity, public safety, those are all big priorities that we really hit the ground running on. And so we've been working with Chad, with our IT team, a lot of different groups that it took to get LafayetteNOW off the ground. It really was about a year in the making. By the time we selected technology, did a lot of testing. And so I'm really excited that we have it here and accessible today. But I do want to talk a little bit, and I know we're going to walk through subscriptions for folks if they need any assistance. But I do want to ask the room if there is anyone here that is already a subscriber. Awesome. You've got prizes. If you are already a subscriber, please, I'm so excited to see those hands raised. Heather is going to help in passing out some of those goodies. So I'm very excited about that. While she's doing that, I'm going to keep talking. So,
Thanks, Heather.
thank you, Heather, for
It's a
your
utility tool.
Vanna White assistance. I appreciate you. I want to talk a little bit about what LafayetteNOW is and what it's not. Okay, so LafayetteNOW is an emergency alert notification system. So it is an opportunity for us in the event of an emergency to connect with you directly. It, of course, collects your information because you are going to subscribe in order to get those alerts. But what it's not is a database of info that we use for anything else. Let me say it that way. So we recognize that we need your contact information, whether it's your name, your phone number, your email address. You get to decide how we communicate to you, but we only use that information for those communication purposes, not for anything else. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. A couple of other things that it is. So primarily, it's an emergency alert system. So in the event of an emergency, and Chad and our team, we've identified what those trigger points are. So what warrants sending out a message, right? But in addition to emergency alerts, there's also some other subscription opportunities there too. And I'll name a couple of those. So because we are within Lafayette Parish, we have other municipalities besides the city of Lafayette. So if you live in Broussard, if you live in Scott, if you live in Youngsville, Carencrow, Dusong, they have all presented channels, if you will, that you can subscribe to. So you can get updates from those city alerts as well. Maybe they're having a marathon or closing a road down, or they've got some improvement that they want to share. That's an option within this system. Couple of other things in this system. We also have subscription for our park department, PARC. That stands for Park, Arts, Recreation, and Culture. And so we're all here today at the Robichaux Recreation Center. If there's events happening here and you want to learn about those, we opened up our swimming pools this summer, for the first time at Girard Park in 6 years, so that was exciting. If we've got park alerts, we also use that channel to communicate that to the public. We had a weather event not too long ago and needed to close down the pool, so folks got a text message about inclement weather coming in and the pool's closing. So park alerts are part of the system as well. And one of my favorite that we are excited about rolling out is transit. So there is a subscription group within that platform for transit, and that's for all transportation communications. Now, rest assured, our transit department's been kind of going through a little flux right now. Our tracking system is about to come online next week. It got taken off for a minute and got put back on. But the text notification system will allow us to alert riders and users in the event of any service cancellations or modifications. So if we have to shut down a route, if we have to adjust a route, if there's a holiday coming up and we're closing, we won't have services, you'll get those alerts if you subscribe to transit. So aside from emergency alerts, I know this is all focused on emergency preparedness, but I just want to make sure you all know the tool that you have in subscribing to LafayetteNOW, because it's got a lot to offer. So, yeah, Harlan, you have a question.
Yes, will the transit alerts include the paratransit service?
Will it include, say that last part again?
Paratransit service?
Paratransit service. Good question, Harlan. So Harlan asked, will the transit alert notifications include paratransit? As of right now, it only includes the services offered for Ride LTS, but that is a great question that I'm going to take back to Warren Abity and our transit team and clarify if that's not something we can include in that. I do know in this upcoming budget, and I don't want to go too far off on a tangent, but in this upcoming budget for LCG, there are funds allocated for a micro-transit pilot system. And what that really means for us is for us to try to see if a micro-transit approach to our transportation might alleviate wait times, might alleviate confusion on, where's the bus? I'm waiting here for a long time. It provides you more direct and quick services. So that's something coming down the pipeline. I know you didn't ask about that, but I figure I'd mention it while I'm up here. Good question. Any other questions so far? And I'm happy for this to be conversational too, because there's a lot to take in today. I see we do have a couple of questions, so what you got?
Microphone, wait,
I'm going to repeat your question too.
You were saying on the website, I guess you go on the website and you can choose what you want to get? Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was like,
We're gonna-
through text or?
We're going to actually walk through it all together. So good question. We'll walk through how to subscribe together here in just a second. Because along those lines, let me also mention to you all, so I'm going to backtrack just ever so slightly. In addition to recognizing that there was not an emergency alert notification system in place, we also recognize that the Lafayette Consolidated Government website is, how do I put this nicely, antiquated, struggle busing, lots of different terms. It's old, and it's time that it needs an upgrade. So we are in the process of upgrading that as we speak. We are going to be launching that hopefully by the end of this year, because it is not as accessible as it needs to be. It's very wonky. I work in it all the time, and I myself have a hard time finding things. So that is something else we're working on. The form right now for LafayetteNOW does live within the website. And if you have questions or you have concerns in accessing that, we'll work through that together. But rest assured, the site as a whole, for you to get better access to resources like what Chad mentioned with our hurricane handbook, or perhaps our emergency operations plan, which is also published on our website. We're really trying to clean that up and make sure that it's easy to navigate and you get all the resources that you need in one-stop shop. I'm sorry, she had another question. And I'll come back to you.
The paratransit, you know, for the disabled and so on, how do they get on that list?
Good question. I don't know offhand. Harlan, the question was to get on the list for paratransit. Do you have the best access to resources for how to get added to that? Do you have information on that, Harlan? And if not, it's something we can absolutely get for her.
Yeah, you have to go online and apply.
Okay. Harlan says you've got to go online and apply. And I know that there is a link on RIDE, LTS, that's L as in lemon, T as in tango. I'm not using the technical abbreviations. LTS, S as in Sam, .com, but that's our transportation website. And I'm sorry, gentleman here.
Yes, does Lafayette Parish have something in emergencies for evacuations if an individual's bedbound? Or like one day my sons will live on their own and I'm not around to evacuate them, or to where the city knows I've got this individual that can't evacuate themselves. Is there any pre-planning or where I can sign up for that?
Yeah, great question. Chad, you want to address that? We work together on this, but part of the new emergency operations plan does factor some of that in. So the question for those that may not have recognized what you just mentioned, anyone that is bedbound or may need additional assistance, what does that look like for alerting Lafayette Parish and letting us know that so that we can respond? Or are there plans in place on how to maybe assist folks in that space? So Chad, you want to take that?
Yes, ma'am, there is a plan in place, we call our H-hour plan that I spoke of earlier, H-hour.
H-hour.
Yeah, so what happens is, it's H-hour, H minus 60 hours before the storm winds hit the coast of Louisiana. But we give at age 60, I think it is, I believe. We start getting those people that they want to be evacuated. We have special buses that come in with the state as well as Lafayette Parish, and we get those out, and we have medical shelters throughout the state that will send them through if they need.
And there's a number that you're gonna know?
You can call it, was it 311? 311, as well as if you get on, you can call 911 as well. But we like to try not to have 911, but 311, or if they get on the message system and let us know, hey, I need to get evacuated. And we'll put the message out, Jamie and her team will put it out about age 60 through LafayetteNOW or through social media. And hey, I need to get evacuated, and we do have a plan in place with the state, and we have with, we call medical centers or evacuations for medical special needs.
So something else I want to add on to that, you kind of mentioned this, but I want to elaborate a little bit more. One thing that the LafayetteNOW tool allows us to do, most of the messaging will be one way, right? It will be us communicating to residents and folks that need this information. It does offer us the opportunity for a two-way form of communication. So in the event that we do want to receive that information, and maybe the message is quite simply, do you need assistance? Are you safe? Do you need assistance evacuating? We will open the door for that and be able to take that in. So you'll be able to reply why for yes, or your location. So we do have some of those plans in place too, that it's not just always going to be us one way communicating to you, but in certain situations you'll be able to reply.
keep in mind that 311, they can contact 311 and we work with them as well. They're part of our plan. So if Jamie and her team will put the message out on LafayetteNOW. If anyone needs assistance, blah, blah, blah. It's a prescriptive message that they developed, and if you call 311, and we put it on a list and we try and, make accommodations to get everyone.
Sorry, I'm gonna expand just a little bit. So my son
Two
is,
prizes, huh?
I know, wait, where are we done? I'll bring him a
so
prize.
my son is nonverbal, he's 19, he's gonna be 19, and my goal is for one day for him to live in his own apartment. Is there anything in place for our individuals in the community that are nonverbal? Because if the age 60 hour comes, he doesn't have the ability to call and say how I need to be evacuated. He might have a DSW, but is there anything in place for our individuals in the community that live independently, but they don't cognitively know age 60, hey, I need to live Lafayette Parish, I don't need to be evacuated? Or like a standing list of, there's these individuals in the community.
And we kind of talked about, that's kind of one of those things where we have to have people, self-register, and then we have a list. We do have a list, but if they don't register or,
That's what I was asking.
self-registration, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll also say too, when Chad makes mention of H-hour, there was surely not an expectation for the public to understand all of that terminology in that time frame. I myself live in this space. I sit in ESF 15. Y'all, there's so many acronyms in government. My goodness. ESF 15 is Emergency Support Function 15. It's all things related to public information. I myself have a hard time tracking H-hour and what hour are we at and what are we doing. Rest assured, when he mentions that trigger point, there are communications that are coming to us to inform the public of what's taking place and what we're trying to engage, what we're trying to get back from community members. It's why we have a really strong relationship with our media. It's why we encourage folks to subscribe, to follow us on social media, all of those great things so that you do know, hey, where are we in the preparation process? Because the HR thing is tricky for the non-emergency preparedness professionals.
And you can think of it as a checklist. You could say 2 days, 1 day out, but it's not much cooler with age 24. No, but it's just basically a checklist, and we go down, like Jamie said, we'll say, hey, it's time for you to reach out to, citizens with disabilities, or it's time for you to reach out to our partners with transportation and get a meeting, and then we handle everything, but it's a checklist, and it's a long checklist, and after each hurricane or after each incident, we go back and we have an after action review. Oh, we need to tweak this here and there. Our goal is to make it better and better after each emergency incident, and that's what we did. And we not only take our incident, but we take other incidents. I know Jamie was in the meeting with the Texas flood. Will we see anything like they had in the hill country? Absolutely not with the terrain that they have. But we had some lessons learned from it, and our team met with the mayor president, and we came up and developed some things from learning their mishaps, because we don't want to have the same thing happen here. It's strictly learning what went right, what went wrong, and applying it to our plan. And that's what we do.
I'll make one more comment too. I do encourage folks, well, first of all, obviously you're an engaged group because you signed up to come here today and you signed up to be more prepared and more aware. But I do encourage you all to connect with Harlan and to connect with the Disability Awareness Committee, because the feedback you're providing to us today helps us direct what kind of decisions are being made. We heard when we were preparing LafayetteNOW that folks might have a reluctancy to quote unquote registering themselves, right? And identifying what their needs are, putting it out there in a vulnerable way. But the flip side of that is maybe some folks are willing to do that and they want to have better connection to resources and have that access, right? So giving that feedback and being a part of Harlan's group and our committee is helpful. It's for us to kind of know what's out there and make sure that the community feels connected to what is accessible to them, available to them. Did that answer your question? I hope it did.
I just want to respond also, if I can, to what Philip was saying about a registry. It is really frowned upon in best practices to have a registry for people with disabilities, because people get the false assumption that government's coming to help them. And everyone has to have their own plan. I mean, it's okay to have some information and share, but you need to have your own plan. And even if your plan is that you're calling 311 or you call an emergency, like people they need to do something, or they need to have people around them that's going to do something, because things fall through. Emergencies can be something that no one prepared for, even our government. So relying on a registry has caused many deaths in the past over, decades. So
That's a great point, Bambi, thank you. We have a question in the back of the room, 1 second. I'll walk this way.
My question is, I have a neighbor where she suffered from multiple head injuries, so she has problems with comprehension, and she gets like really frustrated when we have emergencies. But she has a service dog, and my question is, are you guys capable of evacuating her to an area along with her service dog? Because she has to have that service dog.
Yes, ma'am, our plan, when I tell you it's in depth, it's very in depth. We actually work with our animal control division within LCG. And like we spoke about earlier when we were developing the plan, we bring all our partners together, and that was all taken into consideration. So we have our shelter, people at our shelter that deal with dogs every day, and they come in and they have a transportation for the dogs as well as the person. So that person can't stay with the dog on the state level. The person and the animals, their support animals stay with them. But our animal shelter provides the food, the water. I mean, when I tell you the plan is very robust, it's very robust. We try to think of everything, and that's why we're here today. In case there's something we forgot, please let us know. But yes, we do take that into account for the shelters, for the warming centers that we have. They provided the cages, our animal shelter provided the cages, they provided the food for the dogs, the water, the animals, everything. So yeah, we do work with them quite a bit. Yes, they are allowed to ride with their service animal in the bus.
But you say cages, she has to have the animal.
Yeah, they can get on the bus. I think they have a muzzle, if I'm not mistaken. They put a muzzle on it. They're certain. They have their own rules. We just kind of coordinate everything. But no, if they traveling with them, I think they maybe have to put a muzzle, but they are allowed to travel together in the same vehicle. And then if they're at the shelter, they may have to put a muzzle on them other than the cage or something in order to make sure everybody's safety there. But yes, they are absolutely allowed to stay with them.
I have a question.
We have another question here.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
We had our Lake Charles office, and of course, everybody knows they had Delta Laura, and then the other storm, the ice storm, whatever. But through the first storm, where it removed all the roofs and whatever, we had clients in a hotel in Oakdale or in that rural community. The hotel's roof was torn off, so we had to try to evacuate people to other areas. There was no hotels in the state of Louisiana. We had to look for different avenues, and the 232 help or 211, all they could tell you was to get in your car and go hotel to hotel to find a place that could house these people. I ended up, fortunately, taking some Lake Charles clients to my home, but we were on the road going to hotel to hotel. Hotels were booking and had no room. They would take your credit card, you show up, there was no room available. It was first come, first served, it was a nightmare. Have y'all ever looked into that? And there was no shelters available. I mean, it was just terrible. We had locations, the storm changed its path, and it was just issues after issues.
We work a lot with
And that's what we were told. Get in your car, get the clients with you, with their staff, and start hunting a hotel. They said to go to Mississippi. They were directing you that way. That was not very helpful.
Yeah, well, we're fortunate here in Lafayette because we're a lot larger, I guess you'd say. We work with, like I said earlier, we work with all our partners, and one of our partners that kind of mentioned them earlier, real quick, was the business EOC out of UL, and we actually work with them, and they have a list, and they can tell us the hotels within the state,
I had that.
and how many are filled, how many are vacant, we can reserve them, and if that all fails, we exhausted all our efforts. We have several recreational centers within Lafayette that we can convert, that we can
Didn't
convert.
work with that. That's what I'm telling you, it didn't work. I did all that. And it was already booked. So, stuff like that. So
Do they have recreational centers that they can see? That's a benefit. We have several. We have a list of recreational centers, and then we have their capacity at each. And then once full, we go to the next one, then the next one, the next one.
Yeah.
And we work with the State Department of Health actually. Has some cots for us, and DCSF that we have. If we need the extra cots, they have trailers full of cots, and they bring them in. And then we convert buildings like this into it'd be like a shelter.
This is all good conversation. I want to talk about a few more resources and then we'll dive into Lafayette Now, making sure you all have access. So a couple more things that we worked on. Hurricane handbook we talked about. We've been talking about Lafayette Now. We also implemented a new road closure map. We revamped that for folks. And so in the event that obviously, you know, throughout the year, there's construction and updates and things like that that are happening. But what we did not have was a real-time map access that shows to you all what's closed, what's accessible when you are evacuating, or perhaps when you're just trying to move about the parish. I think there's some folks here not living in the parish, so maybe it's something you take back to your parish. But that website is LafayetteLA.gov/road closures. Try to keep it real simple. But it's a map that offers an opportunity to show you what your available routes might look like. And it does link with the state's road closure map, so you'll also be able to see if there's any state road closures or inaccessible areas. But I wanted to shout out that resource because it's something that's very helpful for folks. And then I see our AOC partners, they are in the room. They've got cameras set up here today. So I just want to shout them out. Acadiana Open Channel, they help us to produce our press conferences. We've got a little switchboard at City Hall that helps us control everything. And they broadcast our city council meetings and parish council meetings. But we definitely will continue to leverage them as a partner and make sure that we've got our press conferences live streamed and connecting with local media. So those are all resources at your fingertips. If you don't already follow us on social media, please do so. But I know I'm standing between you and lunch. So I want to, no, I want.
Not here yet.
Okay, not here yet. Well, I've got a little bit of time, but lunch is following this.
If we give prizes, we give lunch.
Yeah. That's right. So I do want to take the time for folks, if you're not already subscribed, for you to be able to do that, and we can walk through that together. I also want to encourage folks that are here, because I think many of you in the registration process for today identified that you are either on a board or you are part of a larger group, or perhaps you assist others in your home or others in your family. So for you to also be equipped in knowing how to help folks subscribe and help us spread the word, because the tool is only as good as those who are subscribed to it. You know, if we have a population in excess of 150,000 folks, 200,000 folks plus, and we've only got 5,000 subscribers, that's a small group of our population. So we're really trying to help get the word out, really trying to make sure folks know that this is accessible and free to use as a resource. So without further ado, if you do have a device with you, I encourage you to take it out. If you haven't already had a chance to scan that QR code, we also have a couple of folks here with laptop devices that can help and assist folks.
Yeah, so
Nicole,
we can-
you have a...
And we can all circulate around the room to help if you guys need assistance throughout the process, as Jamie narrates.
Yeah, and if you have any questions in the process, or maybe if for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable doing it today and just want to learn a little bit more about it, that's totally fine too. I'll also shout out to, while I still have the mic, we have facilitated subscriptions and kind of registering folks through my office as well. So our communications department, while we're small, I like to say we're small and mighty, we have helped folks that need assistance as well. And you can call us. I'm going to give you the phone number, but it's also in the web page that we've been directing you to. But if you call 337-291-8012, we're more than happy to help you get subscribed as well. So let's just take a moment to visit the site. And I know we don't have it actually pulled up on here, do we? I don't know if we've got Wi-Fi here.
Yep, I got it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So when you visit LafayetteLA.gov/alert, it allows you to learn more about the system, right? The goal was to try to educate folks, provide some frequently asked questions, etc. But down at the bottom of the page is the actual subscription form. And I know everyone's device is a little bit different based on what you need. So That's part of the reason why we've also got some laptops here and hopefully can walk through it together. The flyer, as you also see, allows you to text to join. I find that is it's a fine way to do it. I do know the desktop version, or at least the website option, provides you with a little bit more accessibility to all of your options, whereas the text is really more of a just sign me up and then that's it, you're done. You don't get to really see other subscription options, at least on the first few. So, how do y'all want to do this? Do y'all want to does everyone, well, go ahead. Okay. Okay, great. So Leanne, thank you, Leanne. Leanne mentioned that they have additional laptops in the lobby area. So when we break for lunch as well, folks that need assistance there want to use those devices are welcome to do so. Thank you, Leanne.
What is TTS?
TTS allows us to, essentially what I do on the back end of the system is I put in a message and it actually puts out a phone call to you. With that, it will generate a voice to you. So that's a phone call in the event that you want to opt in for that.
Is that not deaf friendly, right? Are you saying that's not deaf friendly because it's vocal, correct?
She's asking.
Is it only vocal, accessible, only speech?
Is the tool or is that phone call?
TTS.
The TTS call is just it is a voice call, yes. So if you wanted to get a text notification or an email, you could opt in for those options.
So the Lafayette.gov/alert, it says news, weather, radio, voice news, or local.
What, Jamie?
Is that all?
She wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I saw the question, sorry, I wasn't
I'm
finished.
sorry.
So that means that I have to put everything in my information and it's not clear for the deaf community, like for myself. So I don't know what that is. So in the past, we have a TTY or a TTD device, so that's very confusing. So maybe you can clarify something that explains what a TTS is for deaf or deafblind who see that acronym and may not understand the difference between the tools that we're used to. Something different for
You're
that
right.
part.
You're right. We can definitely make that change. And that's the kind of feedback that I appreciate.
Yeah, because I don't live
Yeah.
here, so yeah, we have a lot of deaf blind here.
Yes.
So we want to consider that in the deaf community too, just to be aware that that's a concern.
We will take that back to IT to make sure we incorporate that.
Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you.
So maybe we can just change it to receive audio voice call.
We can adjust it to say audio voice call, something along those lines that's easy to understand what it is that you're signing up for in that space. Thank you.
Yes.
Did you have a question about something or you're actually trying to walk through the process? Okay, let's do that. We can kind of all do it together. So when you're on your device, if you are going to your website browser, however it is that you get to your internet service.
We'll just mill around.
Yeah, and we've got folks in the room. So if you know just kind of offhand, hey, I would like to have some additional help, you can raise your hand. We'd be happy to come around. So when you're going through this system, LafayetteLA.gov/alert, when you get to the form site, it will prompt you for your name, your first name, your last name, your email, which is not required. If you decide you want to get a phone call or text, you would need to put in your phone number. And then your address. So part of the address, part of your primary address, and the reason why we're asking for that has more to do with, in the event we want to geographically target you, and that's a communications term, but geographically identify your location. That's how we would do that. So in the event that, let's say, there is a train derailment, maybe that's a bad example, Chad, but there's something that happens in a certain area of town, and we want to make sure you know about it, we can establish sort of that geo fence. Go ahead.
If you are signing up and you don't live here in the city, you're not a part of the area,
Yeah, good question. So if you are not a resident here, or maybe you're just, you're visiting a friend, or maybe you don't work, maybe you work in somewhere else but you live, anyway, you're not maybe necessarily identified as located here, living here. If you don't sign up for these notifications, there is still a chance that you receive emergency alert notifications. It just depends on the type of emergency. So Chad, you want to talk a little bit more about iPause and the state, WIA alerts, all of these other alerts outside of Lafayette now?
So as Jamie was saying, we have several different programs at our disposal. This is one of them. This is subscription based. So if you don't subscribe to it, we can't notify you, can't reach out to you, because obviously we have to know who we're reaching out to. So this system right here, you will only receive if, like she's saying earlier, if we have geofencing area, if there's an incident, and anybody that's subscribed will get that text message. But if they're not subscribed or they're not from here, they won't get it. So if they come, and let's just say the Cajun Dome for a concert, we have an incident, and we need everybody to evacuate the Cajun Dome, whoever is subscribed to LafayetteNOW in that area will get it. But if we have somebody from Texas or Florida that never subscribed, we can't get it because when we send it out, they're not there to receive it. So we have something called iPause, which is a federal government program, and it doesn't matter if you subscribe or not. If it's life-threatening, then we go to iPause, which is everybody in the Cajun Dome. Similar if you think of an Amber Alert or some type of National Weather Service bulletin where you get it on your phone and on TV, it scrolls at the bottom, this is only a test. Same exact thing, we can give it here in Lafayette. If it's something immediately dangerous to life, we can send those out as well.
Did that answer your question? Okay.
This is strictly subscription based, so if you don't subscribe, you're not gonna receive the alert.
Question up there.
Once I subscribe, let's say I move from Scott to Broussard, is there a way to update my information, or do I need to resubscribe?
Great question. So when you subscribe, you are essentially creating an account for yourself. Now, I know that gives some people some hesitation because they're like, I have another password I have to remember. In the event that you would move, you would be able to get back into your account and change that. So you wouldn't necessarily have to resubscribe. If you ever see, once you subscribe, you see anything as it relates to Regroup is the platform that LafayetteNOW lives within. It's like the technology, if you will. But that account allows you to go and change your preferences, change maybe what you want to subscribe or unsubscribe from. But even if you are not wanting to get into your account and you simply want to just say, sign me up, you can do that too. I encourage folks though to make sure you know how to access your account and adjust those preferences if you need.
How do I get back to that?
Okay. So you will get, if you've already subscribed, did you use a text message or email?
No, I went through the email.
Okay, so check your email and make sure that they sent you a confirmation email. If you did provide your email address, you should get a confirmation email that says, to the effect, thank you for your subscription, to manage your preferences, click here, something along those lines. And it allows you to click back into the system. I believe the text message opt-in allows the same thing too, or offers the same thing too. Is anybody facing any challenges so far that we can assist with? You have another question?
Yeah, do y'all know how often about the alerts occur? Is it like
No, so great question. How often do the alerts occur? Well, we can't predict the emergencies, obviously. But we recognize that, let me just give you an example with some of the rain that we faced, was it 2 weeks ago, Chad? We had that question come up and folks said, I just subscribed for this and I didn't get a text on sandbagging locations because we did open up some of those locations. We have trigger points for when we send an alert because what we don't want to do is overwhelm people's devices and then cause folks to unsubscribe. So either it's a weather warning, you can say that it's going to be a fairly significant reason why we're going to message you. We're not just going to say, looking like the weather might be a little thunderstorm today, just to make sure that folks don't get overwhelmed, don't unsubscribe. So think about big warnings, think about evacuations, very time-sensitive information. Those are the types of reasons why we would send those alerts. We are planning on also implementing an annual, if not biannual, testing. Just to make sure folks know, we would have to put that out ahead of time to local media and our channels to say, on August 2nd, we will have a test. Just to make sure you are getting what you think you're supposed to be getting. And if you're not, you can fix that prior to an emergency situation. Great question, though.
And just some information we learned yesterday when we were doing some testing with it. We learned that certain firewalls wouldn't let emails go through, got hung up because we actually tested them yesterday. So the text went through immediately. So maybe you can do both. You can do text as well as the email. So just keep that in mind too. If you're doing it from like an office website or some type of firewall, may block the email because it did on that one time. But text went through immediately.
Oh, so it's kind of like can you hear on the radio on the TV kind of?
Sure, it's similar to those alerts. Obviously an Amber alert's gonna automatically come through to your phone. Some of what we send, if we need to send that type of a message, yeah, you'll still get those larger state notifications or national notifications, but ours are still more severe than maybe just a bad weather alert, or something less significant, for sure.
What is the transit ones entail?
The transit notifications specifically have more to do with services, so and hours and operations. And so that's why we tried to make that channel separate and make our park channel separate, because what we don't want to do is to overwhelm folks that want to learn and hear of emergency situations when, maybe I just want to know more about the transit operation. So transit is specific to hours of operation, if we need to adjust a route, if we need to close or have a delayed start for whatever reason. If it's a holiday, we want to remind folks that we're not running because we're closed, things like that.
And what's park?
And park is our park arts, recreation, and culture. It's our activities, programs, if you want to learn more about a karate class, if you want to, if we're closing a pool because of weather, things like that are in our park space across Lafayette Parish. Because we do have parks outside of the city of Lafayette. Yeah, great questions. Leanne?
So for example, I signed up when LafayetteNOW just opened, like when they just started it, and I've received one notification. So it's not like super frequent, and appreciate that. But my question for you is, when new channels open, how are current subscribers notified of that? Because I would love to be on that transportation channel, but I'm already subscribed. So without that prompt, I might not know.
Great question. I know that when we first launched the tool, the goal was for folks to know that the emergency channel was the priority and available to them. We do have, and I think it's right at about 400 subscribers for transit that just coincidentally kind of happened upon it, but we are looking to make a concerted communications push for all of those other subscriptions separately. But it's something for us to factor in, because while I don't want to inundate other subscribers on other opportunities, to your point, you might want to know about them, right? You're seeking information. It might be part of our annual testing or maybe a quarterly update. We'll take that back to the office and think about a better way to do that. Yeah. Question here. Come.
Which of those options have sandbag locations listed?
So our sandbag locations are something that live on our website at all times. We don't necessarily issue text.
No, but on the text, like the notification system.
Yeah, we don't necessarily issue text just for sandbags. It's part of it's not in our triggers right now, Chad. People need sandbags for different needs, but that might be something to factor in depending on the weather that we're expecting. Typically, sandbags equal weather preparations.
I know, I don't live here.
Yeah.
But when I used to, I mean, I live in New Orleans, but I'm just asking
Yeah.
if,
We have,
if for Lafayette deaf people,
Well,
just to know where to
we,
find sandbag
also, I
locations.
just wanna say, we do have a sandbag location that is open year round. So as long as you are aware of that location, anytime you might have a personal need for sandbags, that's available at 400 Dugas Road at our compost facility, and that is on our website as well. But in the event of an emergency preparation situation, in our public communications that we issue via press release to our media partners, social media posts, we typically call out all of those locations as they come available because different cities open different locations.
So when we'll send out a message if they're experiencing, severe flooding. And within that message, it'll be where the sandbag locations are. It won't be necessarily just for sandbags because we don't want to inundate too many, we don't want to dilute the program and just say, okay, I'm getting too many texts and now I'll turn it off.
I understand that, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. How many people now do we have subscribed to Lafayette Now? There's some folks here that are raising their hands. I'm excited for that. All right, that is pretty much all we have for today on our end to cover. Again, I want to give a couple more plugs. Just don't forget, follow us on social media, Lafayette Consolidated Government. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And again, if you have questions or concerns with Lafayette Now or want to provide some additional feedback as you might collect from your own experiences or from other folks, please let us know. The communications department contact information is on that website, or you can reach us at 337-291-8012. Thank you so much.
Thank you.